be reading today a little bit from my book, Fin Fatale, book 1, Straight Out with No Chaser, which is about a female assassin. It's a graphic novel that has some pretty dope illustrations, so for those of you interested, feel free to support. It's a really dope book. I'm not just saying that because I wrote it, but it's the truth. So we're gonna start at chapter 1 is Straight Up with No Chaser. The heels of a Christian Louboutin crystal mesh pumps clipped on the tile floor of the Four Seasons Hotel. May I get you a drink to start you off with first, madam? The waiter asked as she sat down at a reserved table underneath her client's alien stain. His approving look of her appearance did not go unnoticed. Her name was Mate DeBoss, better known to the crime world as one of the best assassins recognized as Kiko. A woman whose beauty was the epitome of deadly. For the past decade, Kiko has been on the FBI most wanted list, leaving behind a trail of dead bodies in almost every government agency, including the CIA, looking for her. Ironically, after each tragic death, it was revealed that the majority of her victims were involved in crimes such as money laundering, sex trafficking, drug smuggling, terrorism, amongst other heinous crimes. Mate received the name Kiko, meaning lucky, blessed child, from her mentor Hussein, who was the leader of the 13 Chambers and who taught her everything she knows. She was just 12 years old when she broke into his hotel window in Rio, Brazil, looking for food and shelter after witnessing the brutal slaying of her parents at the hands of henchmen sent from an anonymous competitor of her father's. Hussein said she was very lucky he didn't take her head off of his sword for breaking and entering. Thievery was against one of the 10 commandments of the 13 Chambers. Mate had witnessed people lose an eye, a limb, or something far worse after getting caught stealing from Hussein. Mate was a master of her craft and disguising her appearance, leaving no evidence or traces of identity behind. Mate was 5'6" and a mere 135 pounds, a petite, lean muscle. Her smooth, light cocoa skin and 34C 2436 voluptuous frame is a sight to die for. She's currently sporting a blonde wig with bangs to cover her dark tresses. Yes, please. Mate hypnotic eyes winked at him as she licked her full lips seductively. On a job like this, Mate flirted just enough to leave the impression that her client, Vincent Baptiste, was out with an unknown mistress. No one would have guessed that a killer like her could also be overly flirtatious. Returning in less than 5 minutes, Mate took a sip of her favorite red wine, Pinot Noir, and let out a soft moan. Damn, this is a good year he selected, Mate thought to herself as she drank a 2005 Pinot Noir from Casa Marine vineyard in Barcelona. Despite the fact that she killed a drug while vacationing at that vineyard a few years ago, she actually enjoyed reading about and drinking red wine. As if on cue, her client, Vincent Baptiste, walked up to her table looking handsome and arrogant as usual. This is going to be fun. She smiled to herself, revealing a deep set of dimples. Miss Kiko, it's a pleasure to meet you again. He greeted in a strong French accent, gracefully rising up to shake his hand. The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Baptiste, Mate replied, matching his French accent. As she was taking off her royal blue fox fur collar jacket, Vincent quickly walked up behind her to help take off her jacket and hung it on the back of her chair, lingering onto her longer than he should have. He slowly let his fingers grace her shoulder blades and down her arms. His eyes took in the deep red Tadashi Shoji lace cocktail dress that hugged tightly over her curvaceous figure. Thank you, Mr. Baptiste, but I think it's time we discuss business. Of course, Vincent said as he walked over to his seat. Mate sat down in a slightly elevated position to ensure that he knew who held the upper hand in the conversation, regardless of his height and weight compared to her small frame. She had no time to stroke any man's ego. It was definitely not one to be underestimated. Would you like to have a drink before we start? She asked, motioning the waiter over. Yes, I will have a glass of Remy Martin straight, and Vincent answered. Mate watched Vincent shift nervously in his chair. When they spoke over the phone, he was egotistical and overconfident, with eager to get the job done. Now that they were sitting face to face, he was acting very strange. Vincent, darling, there is no need to be nervous. This will be easy and quick as promised. Mate said. She took his hand, massaged it gently, clearing his throat. Vincent smiled at her reassuringly. Thank you. The waiter returned with Vincent's drink, taking a sip, savoring the flavor of the cognac and deep thought. He leaned back into his chair, getting more comfortable. Then the true nature of Vincent came out. Tell me, how will you do it? I want it to be gruesome, long, and painful. I want her to suffer. Vincent hissed. Mate chuckled to herself before taking a sip of her wine. This is why he was moving around nervously. He's freaking psychotic. She thought to herself, rolling her eyes. I do whatever you want as long as you pay the remainder of my fee. Of course, I have the 10,000 cash in the bag for you. Vincent motioned to the Louis Vuitton duffel bag by his feet. Typical, Mate thought. She sucked her teeth in disgust. She hated the stereotypical money and designer bag trend. Mate always considered that to be tacky, tasteless, and more importantly, obvious. Regardless of how successful Vincent became, he still had old habits that did not die hard. As the great Jay-Z once said, I can't teach you my swag, but you can pay for school, but you can't buy class. Mate knew Vincent was a coward when it came to his wife. He wanted her dead because he found out she was having an affair with his business partner. Instead of confronting her like a man, he decided to hire Kiko to kill her and her lover. The formalities did not matter to Mate. All she cared about was the dead presidents going into her bank account. A burner phone vibrated in her lap, and she briefly read the message she received. Mate always had a new untraceable phone for every client she worked with, and immediately disposed of it after she was done. The message she received was music to her ears. Finishing off her wine, she motioned for the waiter to bring the check. How about we take this meeting somewhere more private? Mate whispered, rubbing her foot up and down his leg. Pulling out a crisp $100 bill, Vincent told the waiter to keep the change and hurriedly helped Mate put on her coat. Mate took Vincent to an exclusive hotel she attended frequently in Midtown Manhattan that catered specifically to assassins of the 13 chambers. Mate led him upstairs to a beautifully furnished suite. As she walked into the room, she threw her coat onto the armrest of the chair. Vincent made himself comfortable in the bed as Mate made herself and him drinks. Walking to him, she handed him a glass of champagne. Cheers to success and revenge, Mate said before toasting her glass of his. Mate set her glass down, opened a duffel bag given to her by Vincent. She plugged in her currency counting machine and began inserting the bills. You don't take me for a man of my word, Miss Kiko? Vincent jokingly asked. I don't trust anyone who hires me. Mate responded in a monotone as she focused her attention to the machine counting the bills. A few minutes later, the machine stopped and successfully counted exactly $10,000 and tested negative for any counterfeits marked bills. Now we can celebrate. Monty stood up to refill their glasses of wine and pass one to Vincent. Vincent's hands caressed Monte's hips, pulling her closer to him. Sorry guys, I had to scroll down. He leaned in for a kiss and she turned her head away. Seemingly unbothered, Vincent tried to massage Monte's shoulders and she politely but more aggressively pushed him away. Vincent was mumbling something she didn't care about as she walked away for him to check her messages. I have to tell you, I would love to see you again after all of this is done with, Vincent ecstatically said before guzzling his glass of champagne. Monte laughed before taking a sip from her glass. Vincent, darling, what makes you think I would want to see you again? Turning sinister, Vincent was completely oblivious to Monte as he talked about her murdering his wife. I was thinking of you bringing her to me and having you kill her in front of me, similar to the movie Hostel, Vincent said excitedly, rubbing his hands together. I want to tie her up and drill holes into her like she drilled holes into my pockets. Vincent was hysterical with anger, describing gruesome details of premeditating his wife's death. Setting her glass down on the table, Monte walked to Vincent and stood in front of him. There's just one tiny little problem with your plan, Monte said coldly. What's that? Vincent quizzically asked. Your wife paid me more, Monte responded. As if on cue, Vincent noticed a tightly wrapped towel in her hand and realized his wife has once again made a fool out of him. So I'm going to stop right there for now. If you all want me to continue reading more, just comment or shoot me an email. But I hope you enjoy. Of course, I will stop when it's about to get juicy, but I did that on purpose. Anyway, guys, Merry Christmas and